All right, here's a quick ending to this ignition system lecture. Right here, we started, yeah, this is where we ended. So a couple things about ignition timing. So here's timing 2 advanced. So if you have that distributor again 2 advanced, or the timing, the computer's got the ignition timing 2 advanced, meaning it's introducing a spark too soon. You're going to have hard starting, bite back, starter damage. You'd have a pinging noise. Again, that's it trying to the 2 flame fronts hitting. Engine runs hot. You can have increased hydrocarbon emissions. Hydrocarbons, that raw fuel from gasoline. Increased NOx, oxides of nitrogen, another emission that we monitor here in California heavily, just in the states in general. Timing 2 retarded. Again, you have that timing too late, so you're introducing a spark too late on the crankshaft revolution, so the piston's going down. You're gonna have, it lowers your hydrocarbons. I mean, you're like, oh, that's good, right? Lower emission. Oh, but you get poor gas mileage. You know, loss of power, and make it hard to start, and also going to lower your engine vacuum. So again, either way, you don't want it too retarded, you don't want it too advanced. You got to have it just right. And then here's a little precursor to what we are going to be doing in a few weeks. Basically, now with distributorless ignition system, you have inputs and outputs. So here's your computer, or what some people refer to as the brain, old school terminology, but yeah, the computer here. So the computer basically takes all these inputs: camshaft position sensor, crankshaft position sensor, various sensors like throttle position, accelerator pedal position, O2 sensor, all this data that comes into the computer. The computer then is programmed with certain data to go to a certain map, a certain block, and then it's going to output these ignition cylinders, these spark plugs, the coils, and or the fuel injectors. They'll change the duration of that fuel injector. So basically, this is what's called biomimicry. It's going to copy us, or whoever designed this system, this engineer, is copying us, our 5 senses. We gather inputs, we process that data, and then we control our outputs. Like if I'm leaning against a stove that's on, it's hot, my inputs tell me, hey, this is hot on my hand. My brain, is the one that's processing that. It's going to send an output like to my muscles to pull my arm off. And these are your outputs on the car, like your actuators, solenoids, fuel injectors, ignition coils. Those are outputs. Sensors are inputs. That's basically it. So kind of recap, you have points and condenser, old school system, where basically the points is just a switch opening and closing that primary circuit to the ignition coil, and that causes that secondary spark. And then from there, you had electronic ignition systems where we replace those points with an electronic system, but still the same thing. It's opening and closing that ground circuit to the coil. We just remove the parts that wear with parts that don't, and they're more accurate. And then from there, we went to that's where we went to distributorless, because we said, hey, well, if we don't need the points in the distributor, because everything's electronic, let's just use sensors, and we can have a distributorless system. And then from there, they went to coil unplug to gain more control per cylinder spark. Also, the coils can last longer. They have better saturation rates. So that's basically it for the ignition system. I'm going to post a few videos and a walk around of a distributor system and a coil unplug system that I have in my driveway. All right, if you have any questions, email me or I'll see you on the discussions. Take care.